I managed to strike 3 managers in a row who were all narcissistic types and were bullying me, and I couldn't understand it. And I hate injustice with a passion. And so when it was happening to me, I thought, why is this happening? Am I doing something wrong? You start to wonder about your confidence. You start to wonder about your capabilities.
Hello, this is Raymond Aaron, New York Times top 10 bestselling author, bringing you Respark Your Life podcast, the world's premier podcast to ignite the fire to allow you to live life on your own terms. Every single Thursday, I bring you a multi-millionaire, world-famous celebrity to teach you about the most fascinating ways in order to live a far better life. Every single Thursday, you just need to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. I'll see you every Thursday to respark your life. Yes, this is Raymond Aaron with a fascinating and really important episode. It's about bullies. Actually, it's about getting rid of bullies. If you ever have been bullied, or if you don't want to get bullied, or if you know someone who's been bullied, this is really important because we need to make sure this doesn't go on. So let me tell you who I am interviewing. Colleen McAvoy is an empowerment coach, workplace resilience advocate, and award-winning Amazon bestselling author. She is dedicated to helping you navigate bullying, harassment, and discrimination with clarity and strategic confidence. Through her writing and coaching, Colleen empowers you to reclaim your professional authority, rebuild your self-trust, and create a healthier, more fulfilling working life. Wow, that's a big deal. And we are broadcasting both in video and in audio. So some people will be seeing you and some people will only be hearing you. So I'm going to ask you to hold your book up, and I apologize to the audio people who can't see it. There it is, Bullies Begone by Colleen McAvoy. Wow, it's out, it's selling well, it's doing well. I'm very, very excited for you. It's a really pretty cover. So tell me something. When I interview people who have a particular shtick in their life, whatever it is, for you it's bullies, or let's say anti-bullies, did you have some incident in your younger life when you were a girl? Were you bullied, or was a girlfriend of yours bullied and you decided to take this up for the rest of your life? Like, when did this thing about bullies start in your life?
Well, hi, Raymond, and thanks so much for having me for this interview. I think everybody gets bullied in their life. I don't think anyone misses out. I think it's just a rite of passage in some ways, because we all need to know how to deal with various things in our life. And if we don't experience them, we don't know how to deal with them. It might sound a bit odd, but it's kind of the contrast. But most recently, I was working in a government organisation, and I'd had a long career where I'd had no problems, but I managed to strike 3 managers in a row who were all narcissistic types and were bullying me, and I couldn't understand it. And I hate injustice with a passion. And so when it was happening to me, I thought, why is this happening? Am I doing something wrong? You start to wonder about your confidence. You start to wonder about your capabilities. But the last manager said to me, do you think you're getting slower? And I thought, no, I'm not getting slower. I'm very capable. And I thought, this is verging on ageism now. So I thought, this is a really odd thing that's going on. And I wondered why it was happening. And then I came to realise that it wasn't actually me. It was the people themselves and the way they wanted to have their power over people. That was my interpretation. And it wasn't just me. It was other staff members as well. They were also being bullied, but they weren't doing anything about it. They were suffering it out for whatever reason that they had chosen. And I thought, no, I'm not doing this. Life's too short. So I tried to make it better. I tried to go through the appropriate channels, but it wasn't getting anywhere. And I did seek legal advice and was told I had a very good case, but it would take years to go through the legal system. I thought, not doing that either, because it had actually started to affect my health. I started to have the shakes. I was not sleeping. My heart was palpitating. And I thought, this is silly. I'm not doing this anymore. So I thought, right, I'd explored all the different possibilities, and I started to learn about all different other ways of earning income, which is the main reason I was in my role at this particular organisation, was to earn income. And so I thought, no, that's it, I'm leaving. So I left, and I've been pursuing lots of things. I've written my book with Bullies Begone now, co-authored with yourself, and co-authored with another book as well prior to this. And I'm learning how to make webinars, all sorts of different things, and meeting some amazing people. I'm so glad I've been doing what I've been doing and what is coming. I find that there's so many more new things coming my way because I've opened the doors to possibilities, which is amazing.
So there's a silver lining for you. Bullying was a bad thing, but it was a good thing because it pushed you out the door, caused you to take control of your life, and now you're leading a far better life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I see colleagues that I was working with, they're still suffering, and it's getting worse in this particular workplace. And I think, why are you doing it? You've got to get out of there. But anyway, not everyone has the confidence to go forth and do things. Some people just get stuck.
Okay, I've got a tough question for you. Is this bullying happening mostly to women?
That's a very interesting question. My experience is that because I was in a particularly women-dominated area, there was a lot of women being affected because of the demographics, basically. But I do know of men that have also been bullied, and at higher levels as well. It's not just a lower level sort of situation in a big organisation. It can be at the higher levels too. It just depends on the personalities that you're dealing with, really. That's the bottom line. But interestingly, while I was researching for the book, it's come across that there's $1.7 trillion estimated that it costs organisations with bullying because of the loss of staff in the office, the absenteeism, even the presenteeism when they're there but they're not working as well because they've been affected by bullying. The staff turnover by people walking out the door with all their knowledge, as I did. I've got years of knowledge which could have been, used, but I walked out the door with it. And the cost of legal and also staff recruitment. So there's compensation cases, and it's massive, and it's worldwide. It's not just in one particular area.
Yeah, so Colleen, those were really good answers and lots of good information, but they didn't answer my question.
Oh, I beg your
I'm
pardon.
going to be a dog with a bone, and I'm going to re-ask my question. Is bullying happening mostly to women or more to women?
Well, I haven't got statistics as such to
Okay,
compare.
fine. If you don't know, you don't know. That's fine. Now
Thank
I
you.
have
That's an interesting
another
question.
tough question. The reason this is tough is because it kind of blames the victim. But so just let me ask my question. I know that bullies need victims, otherwise they can't be a bully. But the reverse is true, that victims need bullies. Like I know a woman who got married, and it turns out her husband was a bully and made fun of her and belittled her verbally, never hit her, but just verbally. And she luckily got out of that marriage, found another wonderful man that we all loved, and within years, turns out he was a bully. And that what I think, it's a spiritual concept, that when she saw him for the first time, even though he was well dressed and he spoke nicely and he was kind, she could somehow sense that he was a bully, and she was a victim in her soul, and she needed a bully. Is there some truth to that?
I was expecting you to ask me about this because I also have a spiritual base, and with regard to the law of attraction, I was investigating this with myself while I was experiencing the bullying, thinking, why am I experiencing this? Then I thought, it's something I need to work on in my life, that I don't need to have people treating me like that. So I need to stand up and take responsibility for what was going on. That was my experience. Other people have their own experiences. And yes, some people do gravitate, like with domestic violence and all sorts of different things, they gravitate to those situations for whatever their reason is. And it's up to us as individuals to know ourselves, to think about what's going on around us, assessing whether we like it or we don't like it and doing something about it. I learnt when my father passed away unexpectedly that life is as it is, and what are you going to do with it? You know, it's just, you know, we have our choices, thankfully, and with most things that we do in our lives, and it's up to us to decide whether we want something to be happening, not want something to be happening, or how we even react to what's going on to us. So my
Uh-huh.
decision with the bullying was to get out of it. I wasn't going to deal with it anymore. I wanted to go to a happier place because we're not here for a long time on the earth, and I wanted to be having a happy life and not one that was being, you know, dragged down by other people's low vibration activities. Mm.
Well, I'm really glad that we're doing this podcast because I have never been bullied. And there was opportunity. I'm Jewish. There's lots of anti-Semitism floating around. And in high school and in university, I studied mathematics and physics because I score almost 100% on every test and every exam in math and physics. I have an extraordinary high IQ. And so you'd think I could be made fun of as a math nerd. I never was invited to any parties because I didn't know how to dance. I didn't know how to talk to girls. And so I could have been made fun of as a math nerd or as a Jewish person, but it never happened to me. And
Mm.
so I am glad that I'm taking something that I don't know anything about, something that's really important, something that never affected me personally, and giving it an audience. Because without you, I would have never thought of doing it.
Mm. Thank you.
But I want to go back to something that you said. You said you called a lawyer, which is a very good idea, because you didn't want to do the wrong thing. You want to do the right thing. And you found out that it's going to take years. But
Mm.
and you told us the solution was just leave. But is there anything else except years of lawyering or leaving? Is there something, is there an ability to stay and go through the HR department and clean it up quickly, not over years?
Well, my experience with HR and with many people that I've spoken with, that they don't always serve the person who's experiencing the difficult situation. They're actually being employed by the organisation. And while there's a lot of lip service given, and there is legislation, of course, to cover people, but unless you've got someone there that's really supporting you, like I even went to the organisation's counselling service just to see if I was, you know, in a silly headspace and wasn't, you know, thinking perhaps about the situation as being maybe I was just sort of thinking it was all about me. And I spoke with the counselling service and they said, no, Colleen, get out of that organisation. It's got a really bad reputation. So the culture of the place was not helpful.
Uh,
You can be in situations where the culture just, they do the lip service of saying what their key performance indicators are with their different strategies that they look after their staff, but it's not always done. They can give the appearance of it for their statistics, but it's not actually being done in real life. Because often a bullying situation can be a too hard basket thing for them. They're very busy people. They might just be wanting to get on with what they're doing. They don't want to be bothered with something that's difficult. So sometimes it can be pushed aside. Again, it's all people based. It's depending on who you're dealing with and how they take their leadership roles and whether or not they want the best outcome for people or not, or whether it's all too hard. Or
right. So in reading between the lines, what you're actually saying is that HR often doesn't help, and
mm,
HR often takes the side of the bully over the victim
mm,
because it's a he said, she said, and no one actually knows what's happened because there are no witnesses there. And so, unfortunately, they sometimes take the side of the bully. And I'm guessing, I know that you don't have an answer for it, and I respect you for that, but I'm guessing the bullies are more often men and the victims are more often not only women, but women in a junior position. And in that case, the women are much less powerful than the men. And so HR might take the side of the more senior male employee, which doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It just means that the person being bullied, often the more junior female employee, doesn't have a chance. And so maybe you just have to get out. Hmm. Now, is
mm.
there a website like you said that the company that you're in, your counselor said get out of it. It's a lousy company. There's lots of bullying. Is there a website where companies are rated according to bullyingness?
I don't know. I don't know about that at all. Um, I just know what I experienced with the counsellor because they'd obviously had people coming from that agency, and they, yes, they just had an understanding from the clientele that they'd received that there'd been big problems going on there. Mm.
I think that's a good idea. I think it could be a wiki project, meaning you don't have to go around do the research. You just open up a website called, I don't know, bulliesbegone.com, or find out how that, if that company is a good company.com. And then
Mm.
people can just enter the name of their company and whether they feel they're bullied. And if hundreds and hundreds of people all comment on a single company, it's probably a bad company in that regard.
I'm sure there's probably some legal ramifications for that because it'd be a bit like a liability thing, I would imagine, if you start naming names, I would imagine. I don't know, but I'm just guessing. Mm.
Wow. Now, I've helped thousands of people like you write a book. And what I've always found, and I never knew this beforehand, what I always find is that the author actually learns about the topic more than before they'd written the book. So when you wrote the book, what did you learn that you didn't know beforehand?
Well, I went and interviewed a lot of people that I came across that had been bullied at work, and nearly everybody has a story, actually. It's amazing. And I discovered there's some really dreadful things going on out there. Mine is minor. What I experienced was minor, but just something I didn't want to tolerate any longer. One woman was a teacher in a primary school, and she had a young man who had a very rough background. He was in the higher years at the primary school, and very, very big boy. He had very, very big. He was very much bigger than her. And he was so cranky one day that he just started punching her in the face. And he just kept punching. Yeah, I know, it was shocking, absolutely shocking. But no one came to her aid. And the principal of the school was also a bully, and he didn't do the right thing by her either, or other staff that were there. It wasn't just her. So she ended off on a workers' compensation situation, and now she's thinking about leaving teaching. And from what I understand, she's a fabulous teacher, and the kids all love her, and the families all love her. But because of what she's experienced, I mean, she's been traumatized, obviously. And so that's a shocking thing. And, I've heard lots of things, people working in service stations where you get petrol or gas, as they call it in America. And there was a bully there. He just kept on bullying people till they left if he didn't like them. And all sorts of things go on out there. You just don't realise till you start talking to people. Um, so it's a big topic. It covers, a broad aspect of society, actually. It's interesting.
Wow.
Mm.
Now, I said before that it's typically, the bullying typically occurs in private. I mean, why would, let's say it's a guy bullying a woman, why the heck would he do it in front of an audience? That's somehow suicide. But you said that this guy punched a female teacher in the face in front of dozens of students.
Yes, and no one stepped in apparently. So the teacher had told me. She said she just couldn't believe it. Um, but people do it in public as well. What I experience is that they're so, I don't know, entrenched in what they're doing. They don't care whether they do it in front of anybody. Like one of the managers of the last three that I had, they were all three females too, mind you. So it's not just males and versus females as to who's a bully. This particular female, I just started with her, and I was in day 2, and we're in a video call meeting, and one of the ladies was there, and this boss was actually really rude to this woman. I thought, wow, that's really rough. Why is she speaking to her like that? And afterwards, the boss came and spoke with me and said, oh, I had to speak with her like that because blah, blah, blah. And I thought, woo back. You shouldn't even be speaking to me about this. This is between you and she. For you to have done that publicly is so disrespectful. And now you're justifying yourself to me. It just didn't make sense to me. That's not how you manage people. It's just dreadful, very disrespectful. And so that just went on from there. Her capabilities, I just thought, no, she shouldn't be leading people. In fact, she ended up being at a higher level, but with no staff. They had her on special projects. So I don't know.
I
Sometimes
have a
things are
tough question for you.
okay.
What is your favorite quotation from a famous person?
Ooh, that is tough.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Here's one from the Bible.
Okay.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Aha.
Now, that's the basis of my life. I just think that everyone should treat everyone with respect as you would like to be respected, and the world would be a better place. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely right. The world
Mm,
would be a better place. In fact,
mm,
this isn't exactly true, but if the head of every nation on earth, like the president or the prime minister of every nation on earth, was a woman, I think there'd be no wars because women just seem gentler. Now, I know it's not 100% true, but I think it's a nice generalization.
mm. From what I've seen too, that women can be that way, yes. But I think also with this push for this breaking through the glass ceiling, a lot of women push forward out of their femaleness, if you want to
Yes,
call it that way, and they try and be more masculine to prove that they can be better managers or whatever.
yes.
And it can also be that they lose their femaleness through that. Some people manage it to do the balance, but I see a lot of times that women lose their femaleness and they become more male to try and show their strength, and they're great managers and they're doers, to try and show that they are equal to men. I mean, we're all equal to one another. There's nobody better than anybody else. But yeah, that's just my experience and what I've gleaned, generally speaking. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about your book.
Mhm.
Tell me or tell my subscribers the most interesting thing they'll learn reading your book.
Okay, well, I address the situation of bullying and identify it, but I want people to be empowered with ways and strategies to actually move forward from it and not be stuck in it. So I've actually got tools in there and strategies of how they might improve their situations, whether they stay in the place where they are, or ways of actually moving forward, perhaps looking at a new career or new ideas like I've done with becoming an author, or online income opportunities, because the world is opened up now with all our technology that we can be doing many things. We don't have to be stuck in one thing anymore at any age, doesn't matter what age you are even. So there's lots of tools and strategies to move forward, a bit of a blueprint you can have, a plan to move forward, which is, you don't want to stay stuck in bullying. You want to move out and have the best life you can.
Now, are you interested in stopping? Is the book for the victims, or does the book also help bullies stop bullying?
I think it can be both. I mainly wrote it for people who are experiencing that to give them tools and strategies, but perhaps bullies don't even realise they're bullying. Perhaps they
Oh,
just think it's the way they're managing. Maybe they think that they're, being dictatorial and that's the way things are going to get done. They've got their responsibilities too, that they need certain things to be achieved. And perhaps that's their way of thinking that that's how you do it. So perhaps they may learn from that, from the book as well, that they might see that there's other sides to the story.
what a fascinating interview. You really opened my eyes to something that I personally have no direct experience of, but I completely believe you that it's very widespread, way more widespread than it should be. Heck, there shouldn't be any bullying, for gosh sakes. And I want to encourage my dear subscriber, go to Amazon, select the category called books, and choose Bullies Begone by Colleen McAvoy.
And I've got a wand. Bullies begone to get rid of them.
Your magic wand, you'll wipe them off the face of the earth. Yes. Thank you. And if you have been bullied or are being bullied, then from my heart, I apologize. On behalf of humanity, I apologize to you. And I know that Colleen's book, which I helped her write, is a wonderful book. It's doing really well on Amazon, and it can help you. Please let her book help you. Go get it. Colleen, you've been a wonderful guest. I really enjoyed it. You're very charming, and you have taken on a tough subject, and you've taken it on very elegantly. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks so much, Raymond.
Wow, I sure hope you enjoyed that fascinating episode. Please make sure you've subscribed, and please tell your friends, if you like it, that they will probably like it as well. For your information, this experience, this service, this podcast has been sponsored by the Orbit Coaching Program. All of my friends, all my world-famous speaker friends, all have coaching programs. Mine has been independently rated as the #1 high-level coaching program. You cannot purchase it. You have to audition for it by me personally. If you're interested, please email me at respark@aaron.com. respark@aaron. Say that you're interested in being considered for the Orbit Coaching Program and include your cell phone number so that I personally will call you back.